Greetings, everybody. It's the Garlic Bread Warlord, Nick Leafy, and I'm in a much better mood this week. I am joined, as always, by the superior talents on the show, Major John Nelson. How are you doing, sir?
Superior talents.
That's right.
You're stretching it there, son.
And Jason Longshore, the official voice of all things soccer in southeastern United States. If there's a team, a show, a program that has an official voice, I guarantee you it says Jason Longshore and then anybody else.
The Oracle.
The Oracle of
Can I take the prognosticator champion after Saturday as well?
I think you can. I think you can.
That was a good day. I should have bought a lottery ticket.
Did you buy the lottery ticket?
Nah, I didn't buy a lottery ticket because I'd made the predictions before, so you never know. But yeah, it was a good day on the prognostication front.
You did. You nailed the winner and the score line. You for both games, correct?
Yeah, got them both.
Yeah. For the Atlanta United game and the Champions League game. I feel very good now. I feel a little vindicated. I feel a little happier knowing that the scoundrels who vanquished my beloved Ajax, they fell to the superior might of Liverpool in the most boring way humanly possible.
Oh.
So I'm sorry, guys. It was a bad game. It was.
Well, when you don't play for 3 weeks,
yes,
what do you expect?
Yeah, and I'm not putting this on Spurs and Liverpool themselves. You can only do so much when you have a 3-week gap. UEFA has to do something about this because it was a horrible game. Liverpool fans, of course, were going nuts from the second minute forward, but there's so much that could have been done better with this. At one, I don't know why you have a pre-show. Imagine Dragons. We just need can we cancel Imagine Dragons for starters, and then secondly, what? Are you okay with
Imagine Dragons? You want to cancel them completely?
Yes. Yeah.
Like not even like they can play elsewhere. Like you want to cancel them, just like cancel the band.
I want them done.
You're not allowed to play any place else ever again.
That's a little harsh, don't you think?
No, they've reached Nickelback status. I'm sorry.
Oh no!
Wow,
no.
European Nickelback.
Yeah. They're not European. They're not European at all.
Well, American Nickelback, whatever you want to call it, it's them. So I'm tired of.
That's really sad.
Well, our name means something, but we're never going to tell anyone what it is. Like, I'm sorry, get out of here.
Well, no, Better Than Ezra never said what Ezra was good at. I don't think. I don't think they ever told that story.
I don't care.
Unless it was Ezra Williams.
I'm sorry, but is Better Than Ezra still a thing? Is that still happening?
Yeah, they're still a thing. They didn't get canceled.
Oh, okay. Which PBR bar are they playing at this week?
They might be at Smith's Old Bar here soon.
Okay, there we go. All right.
Man, you are hating on the music today.
I'm just saying that the Champions League final is such an event that you shouldn't have to have a pre-show.
No, I completely agree with you on that.
You don't need that.
You're just harsh on Imagine Dragons, that's all.
Well, no, yeah, because they suck. I mean, if you're going to have a good band, put somebody out there with talent.
Wow.
It's like when the Russians trotted out Robbie Williams and expected us to get excited
poor Robbie
for
Williams.
Robbie Williams at the World Cup.
If that had been the 2002 World Cup, it would have been great.
Yeah, but, I'm sorry. You just have to do better than Imagine Dragons as the pre-show.
They're obviously trying to take cues from the Super Bowl, but yes, that is not the same.
Take better cues.
Well, they did because
talent.
They said, well, hey, what is the most mediocre talent we can put forth in front of a large audience at one time? Because that's exactly what the Americans did when they trotted out Maroon 5 for the halftime show.
Man, no, that's just mean.
It is. It's like, what is the most mediocre milquetoast content that we can trot out during this major sporting event? I know. Let's go get these guys.
So who would have been better before we move on to the actual game? Because that's the important thing here. Who would have been better, Maroon 5 or Imagine Dragons in the Nick and Leafy book?
Oh.
Static.
No, you got to pick one.
Choice D, choice C, none of the above.
Okay,
the gig is booked. You got the dancers, you got the pyro, you got it all happening. You have to pick one of them. Those are your two options.
I will pick Maroon 5 over Imagine Dragons because at that point my marketing brain kicks in and says that there are a great many a lady out there and some gentlemen who enjoy watching Adam Levine do what he does. And the man is not bereft of talent. we've seen him do several, especially he was doing the Prince tribute. I mean, he destroyed it. It was amazing. But I would have to go with my marketing brain, which would say Maroon 5 over Imagine Dragons.
You got that one right. Maroon 5's the better band.
Okay. All right, there we go. See, I'm not
Just
completely
sure.
in head. I'm not.
Had to make sure.
All right, I'm not sniffing white out over here, guys. I promise you, there's some thought process going on behind it. I'm just saying.
And then you could have a spin-off episode of UEFA's Got Talent.
There we go. Exactly.
It's The Voice.
Well,
I was close.
He was on The Voice, but I mean,
he was the guy on The Voice.
He was the guy who always lost to Blake Shelton.
Shows you how much I watched said programming.
That's
yeah,
right.
Really
Guys, I do have a question about this game, though. If I may, if we can return it to the round ball momentarily. Should Harry Kane have started?
Nope.
Nope.
So we're all universally in agreement.
I get it. I mean, he's your dude. He's the guy, and you have a lot of loyalty to your guy, but he was not ready to give you enough. He just wasn't.
No.
Was it 12 touches in the first half?
It wasn't a lot.
It's not so much that. I mean,
but their whole rhythm that they had established with him not being in the lineup gets completely kerfunked.
Different conversation. Like him getting 12, you could put on the defense for Liverpool. It's just he was ineffective. I mean, he just wasn't effective, and he wasn't sharp. And when it was already hard with enough guys who had no rhythm to insert somebody who has even less rhythm because he hasn't played, it was one step too far.
For me, it looked like once Liverpool realized that he wasn't going to be effective, then it allowed them to properly direct their punishment on the rest of Spurs. And once that happened, it was a wrap. I mean, 2 minutes in, the penalty, yes, it was a penalty. It was a real penalty. I don't think it was, did he intentionally kick it to the arm? Yeah. Is it part of the rules? Yeah. The guy's arm was in an unnatural position. You're going to get the call. And so 2 minutes in, you're already down a goal. And what did we say on the previous soccer over there? Spurs had to score first. If they were going to do it, they had to score first. And it wasn't going to happen, but then we went through the Sahara of scoring until the 87th minute. But, congratulations for Liverpool fans. I don't know why Lucas Moura was on the bench. That is an absolute insane call to me. You bench the guy who scored a hat trick against Ajax. I mean, guys, why should I not sit there and point every verbal barb toward Pochettino and be like, you moron, what were you doing?
Dog. With the open hand and the index finger pointed at the bench and go, dog.
Yeah. No, it's really obvious what he was doing. He got it wrong, but you're rewarding your most important player, and Harry Kane is your most important player, and that's a known fact. You're always going to take the chance on a guy that's that important, and you're not there without Harry Kane throughout the whole tournament. You're not. And for me, the better decision would have been to have Kane on the bench and start Lucas Moura. Absolutely would have been the better decision from a soccer perspective. But, let's be real here. Mauricio Pochettino is not a dummy all of a sudden. He's not a bad coach because he got this one wrong. He made the wrong decision, and I think he would probably love to have it, again, he probably 15, 20 minutes in would have loved to have had that decision again. But it's very easy to understand why he did it. Mm-hmm. If let's flip it. Let's say you're going to MLS Cup final and Joseph Martinez is in the Harry Kane situation. If Joseph is upright, he's playing in the MLS Cup final, and you know that. That's Harry Kane. I mean, we can laugh and make fun of it all we want, but just about any manager in the world would put him into that situation.
I understand, and as much as we talk about, if it's not for Harry Kane, Spurs aren't, going as far as they did. If it's not for Lucas Moura, you're not even in the final. If it's not for him, you guys are talking about having to deal with the questions of, Spurs didn't buy anyone, blah, blah, blah. Mauricio's out the door. Lucas Moura turned the entire narrative on its head.
No, 100%.
So that's what bothers me. If it was something where a couple of different guys had made the magic against Ajax, then okay, fine. I 100% get it. But when you have one person who was everything was clicking, all cylinders firing, the chemistry was there, the magic was there, and you're like, yeah, you're just gonna sit on the bench there, Chief. If I'm Lucas Moura, I'm calling my agent. I'm like, get me out of here.
Yeah,
if these guys can't buy in, if these guys, yeah.
Maybe, but that guy, instead of just in one game or in a couple games, that guy has been Harry Kane over years and years. So, Harry Kane could have forced a move and left Spurs, and he's one of the people that stuck by the project. So, it's not the right decision from a soccer perspective. It's not. He got it wrong. I'm just saying I completely understand why he got it wrong and how difficult of a decision that it was. But, yeah, 100%. If it was anybody else, if it was Son, if it was even Dele Alli, I don't think it's as difficult of a decision. It's Harry Kane, and he's your dude. So, it sucks. It's difficult, but we've seen this play out before, and it's one of those that, man, you wish Harry Kane had not been able to go 90 minutes. You wish, you come into it and you're like, he can only give you 30. Okay, decision made. I don't have to make this decision. Great.
Yep.
But what's Harry Kane going to tell you? He's going to say, yeah, I'm good to go.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Of course he is, if he thinks he's ready to go. Nobody did anything wrong here. You got the decision wrong, but nobody was wrong in the way they handled it. Harry Kane wants to play. He's been the guy. Pochettino wants Harry Kane to play because he has a ton of respect for him as a professional. It just did not work out because Harry Kane was in even less rhythm than the rest of the squad. It's that simple. It's how it goes sometimes. It's a tough life. It's a tough decision. It's something that, it's easy to say from the outside, like, yeah, you start Lucas Moura and you just tell Harry Kane to sit down. It's not as easy when you live and die with those guys. It's not. And we know Pochettino's a very emotional manager. He wears his heart on his sleeve with the stuff. You're not going to be able to tell Harry Kane in that position, yeah, I know you're really important, and we might get to you in the game, and this is maybe the only time Tottenham gets to a Champions League final, but, we'll get there maybe maybe you'll get a chance. Maybe. Nah, he's playing. It's hard, but he's playing. You have to.
And I've seen people, who've tried saying, well, it was a Spursy game.
That's ridiculous.
As I've said, after Ajax, That's So Spursy is dead. that to me, that ended in that game. It
didn't play badly here.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a disastrous game. It was not great because of obviously the second minute going forward. But John, what are your takes on this, man?
No, I mean, it's, you're discussing a game where when you have folks who don't play for 3 weeks, you're going to get flatness. You're going to get the flatness of the flat. And when you have a moment like you have in the first couple of minutes, then the team that is the benefactor of it can sit there and reorient their game plan, and the team that is tired, that is having to come from behind, is having to twist things. So, for me, not surprised by the end result, disappointed by the level of play for obvious reasons. I understand why we saw what we saw, but there are all of these decisions that we've talked about so far about Harry Kane over Lucas Moura. I get it. About this is what we see after 3 weeks. I understand it. But, I think what you have to do on two separate fronts, regardless of the result, I think that you sit there and you look at what Pochettino has done with the roster and the financial constraints / desires and game plans that he wants to do. And you sit there and you tip your hat to Pochettino with what he did and what he's building there at Spurs. And Liverpool, you won Champions League, but I think that The question is, for a team like a Liverpool, would you like to have won the Premier League instead? And I think that's another question. If all things being equal, and you were close, like Manchester City, if we turn the Manchester City script, would you have rather won the Premier League, or would you have rather won the Champions League? Which one would you have rather won?
I'll take Champions League.
Liverpool would rather have the Premier League because they haven't had it ever. They haven't had a first division title since, 90?
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've never won the Premier League. I think that's become the thing for them. And I think most clubs around the world would say they'd rather have their domestic league. Manchester City's one of them that would say Champions League because they've won the domestic league now multiple times. They haven't been able to get to the Champions League title. I think Juve right now would say Champions League because, they can win Serie A in their sleep. PSG would say Champions League. Bayern would probably say Champions League, even though it hasn't been that long since they won it. Most would say their domestic league because that is the better team over the whole season. Champions League, you can get a little lucky. Not to say Liverpool did, but you can, and you can win Champions League and not be the best team on the continent.
It's about draw, and it's about upsets, and it's about timing. How things can go in
timing as much as anything. Yeah, it's tough. It's a different competition, and luck comes into it far more in Champions League. It's hard for luck to define, a champion over 38 games or 36 games or however many each place plays. You look at the numbers here. The game state has a huge effect because you get that second-minute goal. But Liverpool had 3 shots on target. They scored on 2. Tottenham had 8 shots on target. They had 16. They had more possession, which is not a surprise. They had better passing. Passing at 80% with Liverpool's pressure is pretty good. They weren't out of it by any stretch. And if you get one anywhere in that time after the second minute, you've got a pretty good game on your hands. So it was a good performance from Tottenham. It wasn't great. It wasn't what you needed. You gave up the early goal, which you couldn't give up, and that's what happens when you're not the better team. Liverpool was the better team on paper, and they did what they had to do. That second-minute goal, it was the right call. I do hope that we soon, and I believe in the upcoming changes to the laws of the game, will get a little more definition on handball calls and handball calls in the area. We need it because there's always confusion, but I think this one was the right call. Harsh, but it's the right call.
So shout out also to Instagram model Kinsey Wolanski, who ran across the field. That was in the 18th minute.
I did miss this. Yes, I heard about it.
I missed this too.
Saw the clips, but I missed it.
Let's say that she was she is an Instagram model, so I'll let you form your opinions.
Scantily clad.
Yeah, a one-piece bathing suit that was about 4 sizes too small, and she went racing
extra
out
medium.
On the field. Yeah, yes, extra medium. In the 18th minute, showcasing her boyfriend's quote-unquote adult website. Gentlemen, the power of the Champions League final. She went from 316,000 followers on Instagram and that was on Friday, to 2.5 million on Sunday.
800%.
So
I don't think Imagine Dragons got that kind of a bump.
No,
Nope.
They did not. No, they did not. So the pictures have been circulating the internet. I will not personally repost those, but should you feel so inclined, I promise you can find them just about anywhere. Kinsey Wolanski is her name. Have fun. Rumors are now circulating that she was allowed to run on the field, that one of the stewards was allowed to be sweet-talked into letting her run. So I will say this. Her top-end speed was pretty impressive. Like when she crossed the touchline running toward midfield, I have to say, guys, she was outrunning all of the security guards. So maybe there's a different calling for Miss Wolanski should she so choose to do that. But we also can't overlook the fact that at one point, guys, Roma had both Alisson and Salah. So we're talking about missed opportunities. Missed opportunity for Miss Wolanski and pursuing an athletic career, and also missed opportunities for Roma had their financial situation been better in keeping Allison and Salah. So congratulations to Liverpool. You guys earned it. We're not trying to just sit here and talk down, saying what could have been different regarding just Spurs. But
Doug Robertson was pleased.
I'm sure Doug was. I'm sure Doug was thoroughly pleased.
Nathan Pugh's probably very pleased.
Nathan Pew has strangely been radio silent since then. So Nathan, I hope you're okay, man. That you didn't partake and enjoy the adult beverages too much following your superior victory and slaying my personal demon in Tottenham Hotspur for destroying the dream of Ajax in the final. So thank you, Liverpool. Get what you get. Let's go ahead and take a commercial break if we can, and we're going to come back. We will cover some stuff in the news that is not great at all, and some stuff that's a little more entertaining as well. So, Jason, cue up the commercial if you can, please, sir. We will be right back. It's Nick Leafy, Jason Longshore, John Nelson. It is soccer over there.
Today's show is presented by Appolinsky & Associates, personal injury lawyers with over 30 years of experience, supporters of Atlanta United, Faction, and Inter-Atlanta Youth Football Club. If you've been hurt in a wreck, contact Steve today at steve@aa-legal.com or call in 24/7 at 404-377-9191. The initial consultation is free.
A ranger station.
I'd like to report a bear hug.
Okay.
I put out my campfire and Smokey Bear hugged me.
So you drowned the fire, you stirred it, drowned it again, and felt that it was cold?
Uh-huh.
Yep, he's just letting you know you did good.
Bear hug from Smokey Bear. Status update.
I'm gonna let you go now. There are many ways to start a fire, but one sure way to put it out. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
We know that every driver is different, and a one-size policy does not fit all. That's why Country Financial offers a variety of discounts, so you get the coverage you need and the savings you deserve. From good driver to good student, multi-policy to multi-car, we've got a discount to suit every driver. Call Jason Wright at 678-568-6871 today to see what you could save. On Facebook at Jason Wright Agency or by phone at 678-568-6871. Discounts vary by state. Policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, or Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Every hiring manager knows that a company is only as good as the people it's made from. So where do you find the best people? That may surprise you.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
This is talent worth knowing about.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
All right, thanks for sticking with us. We are back. We have stuff in the news, but first, I want to hit up the Twitters if we can. John, who's been reaching out to the show?
Gustavo is listening. Hola, Gustavo.
Hola, Gustavo.
At Sock Over There. The accidental realistic at Nicolifi is right, and I don't like it. Ha, 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 but he's right. Tottenham arrived to the final only because of Lucas. It was mostly luck. They woke up after 70 minutes of going forward expecting luck to appear again.
Can't sit him, though. You can't sit Harry Kane. Now, if you can find another spot for Lucas, you try to, but you just can't.
Don't sit Maradona.
Bold
choices,
gentlemen.
You don't sit Maradona. You don't sit Tom Brady. You don't sit Mickey Mantle. You don't sit these guys. Like, if they're standing, they play.
I'm sorry. It takes bold moves and bold choices sometimes to succeed in life, and I'm doing it. And if I get – I mean –
that's easy to say. It's not easy to do. No, they're not going to fire you over it. But hey, let's put it this way. Okay, who has stuck by you when? What were the offers out there supposedly for Harry Kane? Like any club in the world, like name it, crazy money.
Yeah, there was substantial money,
and he stuck by Tottenham and Pochettino.
That's great. That's
yeah,
wonderful.
but that loyalty is worth something, especially to a manager like Pochettino. And Gustavo understands this. You have guys who treat it like family, and I think Pochettino's that kind of guy. And you can't sit your most important player at the club. You just can't.
No, I think you have to. You have to go to him and say, "You are a warrior, and I will follow you anywhere you go. But in this game, I'm bringing you on in the 60th minute, and you are going to run like a freaking warhorse and destroy them when they're tired. That's what I need from you, Harry Kane. Can you do that for me?" And if he says,
"Be awesome if you could pull that off."
If you could, but if you're saying Coach Nick is in charge, that's what I'm doing. Like, I mean, you have a 3-week gap. It's not like you don't have time to massage this message of prep it and give it to him. Like, hey, look, we're playing game 4 tomorrow, and I'm making the sudden roster change. You have 3 weeks to prep the guy for it. And if he seems like he's okay with it, he's a team player. As long as you actually fulfill that promise and get him in at the 60th minute, I think he's fine with it. But
you can't guarantee anybody coming in the 60th minute of a final, though. You can't guarantee that because you never know where the game can go at that point. In this one, yeah, it would have been good because of where the game was at the 60th minute, but you can't ever guarantee that. It's really hard, and I think what you hope for in a situation, and I want to make it clear, like I don't think Harry Kane was a bad teammate, bad for the club, selfish, anything like that. There's nothing like that going on.
No,
because he wants to play and help the team as well. But you hope that the conversation, or you hope that your trainer comes back and says, "Look, he can't give you 90. He can't." You hope that somebody tells you that, even if maybe it's not 100% true, to help you make that decision. But if he's cleared at full fitness, and he supposedly felt fine at the end of the match, you have to play him, and it is incredibly difficult, but you have to, and just hope. It didn't work out this time. It's not like they were off by much, though. It's not like they got blown out. It's not like he was a complete joke or anything like that.
Right,
it was the narrowest of margins, but that's a final for you.
It's not like they scored the 2 goals in the first half and then just parked.
It's not like he scored an own goal or had a horrible giveaway that led to a goal. Nothing like that.
Yeah, and so, but then again, guys, this is why we sit here and we run our yaks on a show, and those guys are getting paid insane amounts of money to make those decisions. I'm telling you guys, I'm going to get my credentials. I'm getting all the licensing, and I will be in that position to make those calls. And then pretty much one day somebody will be saying, "Hey, that chucklehead Nick is making these really dumb calls. Why in God's name would you pull this star player in the final?"
I was about to say, are you going to replace Gattuso?
I'll replace Gattuso. I'll be that guy.
Sometimes it may be good.
Definitely going to be. So, there we go. Guys, we have some. I hate this. I wish to God this kind of stuff didn't come up in our world.
This is where we need the Law and Order drop.
It is. Okay, so Neymar, if you have not been keeping up, Neymar has had numerous run-ins with the law as of late. He punched a couple of people. He's made comments that, essentially that the officials were, out to get PSG. And now he has been accused of raping a woman in Paris last month. This past Saturday, Neymar goes on Instagram and shows texts and pictures of his accuser. This is illegal in Brazil, by the way. And he says that essentially he's being extorted, that this is what's happening. According to the victim, she says that it started off as a consensual encounter, and then she changed her mind. Neymar got violent, and it went from there. I'm sorry. You have to. I'm of the opinion that Tite, the Brazilian manager, should drop him from the Copa America. You've already stripped him of his captaincy. There have been training videos where he's been megged and he threw another player to the ground. He is an all-world talent. We talked about this last week, what might have been, because the guy has a 10-cent brain. TJ's saying, well, I'm not going to judge him, and that's fine, innocent until proven guilty. But at the same time, you're also giving him like unlimited leave if he wants to, if he needs to show up for court appearances or whatever. TJ says, yeah, we'll let him go as needed from practice or games or whatever for court appearances. You got to drop him, right? You can't walk into a tournament with this. Like Copa America, of all tournaments, you're going to walk in with this over your guy? I mean, if anything, to protect him, if you honestly believe in the guy's character, you pull him and say, look, man, I'm not sending you to Argentina, Ecuador, whatever, with this mess over your head. You need to go get this stuff solved. But,
yeah, I don't know the Brazilian squad well enough to know if you could, and I don't know timelines of how this is all going to break out either. Are you going to have court appearances and issues during the tournament? That part I don't know. It's getting to a point with Neymar, and this is nothing to do with the potential court case and the allegations that emerged over the weekend, because that is pretty new and we don't know details. It's getting to a point that after the stuff at PSG, after the way he acted after they were knocked out of the Champions League, other things that have nothing to do with the case that has emerged, Neymar's becoming a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Period. This makes it even worse. It would take a very bold manager from Brazil to drop him. But you're at that kind of point, and I know this might, some people might say that I'm treating Neymar differently than Harry Kane. There's never been anything about Harry Kane being a bad teammate, and that's why he gets that loyalty from the club. Neymar has a reputation of not necessarily being that. Now, he has been a warrior for Brazil, and he has done his things for his country in the national team kit. We know that. But all this other stuff adds up. And is he going to be able to lift his game in spite of it, or is it going to drag his game down? And I mean,
and is it going to drag his teammates' games down because of everything that's surrounding the vibe surrounding the club? I mean,
if you've got club, we're not talking about. I'm talking about the national team here. And if you're
that's what I mean.
If you've got fellow national team players that their game gets dragged down because of it, then that's on them. That's their problem. I just don't know if Neymar is Neymar at this point.
Right.
And if he's not, is he still one of the best 23 players that Brazil can field? I'm not so sure of that.
I mean, police visited the national team training ground on Monday to notify Neymar of the accusation officially.
Yeah, but that's a far cry from there's an arrest, there's a court case, there's stuff like that happening. So, I mean, there is the innocent until proven guilty idea, at least that we have here, and I don't know. On that regard. But, yeah, they visited. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean anything. Can he focus on the tournament, and can he get back to fitness? Because it's not like he's played a whole lot lately. Is he going to be able to help you? I don't think that's a definite at this point.
Hey, I'm 100% for innocent until proven guilty, but innocent until proven guilty does not extend to the court of public opinion or marketing or branding and imaging. And you have to factor in a potential hit to all of the above. I mean, the phenomenal World Cup, the Women's World Cup commercial that Nike just dropped features Neymar. He's in there, right? He's playing FIFA, and it's using the ladies Brazilian team. But I mean, do you go and recut that now? If I'm Nike, I'm calling up. I'm like, guys, recut the ad. Get him out of there. Put him with. I don't care who you put in there. Get some kid in New Jersey in his spot. I don't care, but recut the ad. Innocent until proven guilty is great until it starts affecting your marketing, and at that point, you have to rethink things. And I know there are some people out there who get angry when I say that, but just understand that in the world of marketing and branding, that factors in. That's a real life conversation that takes place around boardrooms when stuff like this happens. And Brazil, they can do their own thing. But if I'm Nike, if I'm PSG, if any brands associated with Neymar, I'm strongly rethinking what I'm running involving him, especially from June 14th to July 7th. So that's my 2 cents there on that particular issue.
Oh yeah, no, that's a definite. I mean, that's just smart protecting your brand because Nike is bigger than Neymar. You know, is the Brazilian national team bigger than Neymar? And that's the question. And I don't. It's definitely not the same answer. Yet, obviously, Nike has far more things going on than just Neymar. Brazil. I mean, you drop him at this point, like that's the whole storyline that's going to follow your tournament, 100%. I think the bigger issues are the injury stuff. I mean, where is he going to be? Like May 29th, last week he left training, the knee injury. I mean, where is the guy going to be? They've downplayed it, but can he be Neymar on the field? And if you're Brazil, I don't think that's a guarantee by any stretch.
And with all due respect to his abilities, when was the last time that he was in fact Neymar?
That's not fair. Neymar has been really good for PSG. I mean, has he had issues? Has he been?
He's been selectively good for PSG.
Yeah, but I mean, PSG, you can be selectively good because like who you playing really. Like I think that's as much of it as anything. It was a bad decision to go to PSG. First off, like you want my opinion about Neymar on the field. When you're playing at Barcelona and you're being tested and you're training against the best of the best, and then you go to an inferior league and an inferior team, and you're basically allowed to do whatever you want, your level's going to drop flat out. Like, has he forgotten how to play? No. And has he been able to raise it for the national team? Yeah. But, you know, he wasn't Messi, Ronaldo, elite Modric level at the World Cup. And he hasn't been the same probably since then. So it's been a year. It's tough. I don't think he's helping Brazil right now in any stretch, but does it help them more to drop him and replace him?
Well, that knee injury is very convenient. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, that was right before all this, and they downplayed it, but that would give you an out. And that would give him an out. And then they can still, I mean, the Federation has talked about helping him with lawyers and helping him with the legal situation and all that. That would give you the out. That would be your excuse. And that would maybe be the best way to handle all of this for everybody concerned.
Because the alleged crime happened a month ago. So if they knew this was going to pop, then...
Well, I don't know about that. And that's where it's tricky because the allegations happened before, but the actual filing didn't happen. So how much did he know ahead of it? Maybe by then, maybe not. That's the stuff that we're all guessing.
Yeah,
but that knee injury is your out. If you're Brazil and you figure out that he can't do it, head's not right, ability's not there, he's coming off the injury anyway, he's not going to help you. You can blame it on the knee injury and protect him a bit.
Well, Brazil will kick off against Honduras the 9th of June at 3 p.m. So that's a lead up. Excuse me. The first match is against Bolivia for Copa America. Excuse me. So it's the 14th at 8:30 p.m. Brazil, Bolivia. We'll have a lot of answers then, and they follow that up against our boy Joseph Martinez, the King. That's going to be June 18th at 8:30. So prepare yourselves accordingly. Make sure you have ESPN Plus dialed up. Make sure you pay your bills so you don't have that lapse in coverage, because this is going to be something that's going to be worthwhile. Something else with the Brazil team to keep an eye on, Coutinho, because he's not fitting in at Barcelona, man. They have rumors of him going to PSG. I don't know how they would afford it, but it's there. Another star falling. Not able to keep up at Barcelona. There's some transfer rumors going on, though, and I want to get into some of these because it's that time of year. But one thing before we get into that, we have Maurizio Sarri finally looking like, and I say finally, I can't believe I'm saying that because, well, it's Chelsea, so, I mean, it is sort of finally. They are coming to terms with potential release of Maurizio Sarri. So
both emotionally and financially.
Well, financially is going to be a completely different storyline because somehow Juve has to finance any sort of exit fee unless they build it into unless they build it into Sarri's pay, in which Sarri can then pay off. However they want to work the money. Good luck to them. But something that is bugging me about this is that they keep talking in the media about how, and we know it's not going to happen. We know it's not going to happen. That Pep Guardiola is still in the works to be Juventus's manager. And every time they mention this, Juve's stock spikes.
Wonder why they keep mentioning it.
Yeah.
Wonder why nobody's like, nope, that's not happening.
Yeah. So keep in mind that Juve is a publicly traded company. So anytime they mention anything like this, it's now a wonderful gray area, right? Because if they were actually in talks to sign him or had any sort of pre-contract agreement, they would have to disclose that because they're a publicly traded company. It would directly affect the bottom line of said company.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody, I'm telling you, if I'm an Italian regulator, right now I'm watching this like a hawk, finding out when the spike happens and who's selling.
Yes.
I want all of them in court immediately when Maurizio Sarri becomes the manager and the stock tanks. Not tanks, but comparatively
The
speaking.
Italian version of the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Yes.
All right, can we get into transfer rumors?
We can get to
Yes.
transfer.
Can we please get into transfer rumors right now? Like right
Yeah,
now?
Especially one involving Juve?
Now.
No. I got a much better one than that. This gets a double air horn. Double air horn. All right.
Ooh.
On Catalonia Radio in
Man.
Barcelona, Xavi Campos, reporter, ranked by Barcelona fans as being tier 1. He's
Tier
very
1.
rarely wrong.
Uh-oh.
Rarely reports.
Whew.
You ready?
Let's do it.
This has been
Gustavo,
reported in the
buckle up.
last hour. Luis Suarez has an offer from Inter Miami to be their first designated player.
Oh.
He would start in
Yes.
2020. His contract would be for 4 years and has not responded to the offer yet.
Happy New Year.
Oh, my God.
Campos also mentioned there's another player on Barcelona's squad that Beckham is targeting but did not give a name.
You like apples?
Who would be the second player?
Coutinho.
I mean,
Who's the third man?
Who's the third man?
Coutinho?
At this point, though, in his career.
If it's not working out, and, I mean, PSG, like,
Yeah.
it's not that far off. Like that's the
No, it's
crazy
true.
thing is
That's
PSG and Ligue 1 to MLS and Miami. It's not that big of a difference.
That's terribly true. Yes, it is. Very
That's
true.
good and bad. Like that's I don't know how to necessarily take that, but that's Luis Suarez linked to Inter Miami, and maybe Coutinho's the other one. I don't know.
If in my opinion, this is a move that would be fantastic for Inter Miami.
No doubt.
I mean, there's a couple of players that I've tossed out there that I think would be worthwhile additions, and I know that they get pissed off whenever I say it, but I think James Rodriguez to Inter
Said that
Miami
a lot.
would make a ton of sense. But this is if you want to put butts in seats and you want to do it right away, Luis Suarez is the man to do it. I mean, he could come in, and I still think he's got plenty left in the tank as long as he's motivated. That's the key. That's the concern for me is, will he come here motivated, or will he come here and get caught in Miami nightlife? Because if he gets caught in Miami nightlife, it's going to be a bad day for everyone down there.
Yeah. That
Waffle
could
House.
be a bad thing. Well, the thing is, I don't think Luis Suarez is really that guy. There hasn't really been that type of talk around him. You know, he takes the game very seriously, maybe sometimes a little too seriously. But I think he'd be a pretty interesting signing.
Yeah.
I think it could work. That's
PK?
intriguing. PK actually no. PK's are really good. Busquets is going to be probably past it. PK's a really good one because I would not be surprised to see PK want to come to the United States. I think he has those types of aspirations, and becoming a bigger brand in the United States would make a lot of sense. And yeah, if you could pull that one off, that'd be good. Have you heard about the one involving Barcelona's La Liga friends, Real Madrid?
I have heard. I've heard a couple of rumors regarding Real Madrid. Are we talking about a potential large transfer? Are we talking about that?
Trade. I think they've been watching the NBA silly season and getting ideas. Reportedly, and I saw it at Varsity Sports, but it's been a bunch of places. Paul Pogba to Real Madrid in exchange for Keylor Navas, James Rodriguez, and Gareth Bale.
And a player to be named later.
No, there's no more players to be named later. That's enough.
But then there's also the linking of Pogba to Juve.
Where have you seen this one?
Sky Italia.
And DiMarzio has that as well, that Juve wants him back. Now, I think either way, with both teams, you're talking about trades. And Dybala is, of course, the first name that comes up for Juve, just because he's had trouble fitting in. I think he's a great player. He just hasn't been able to fit in there. And if Maurizio Sarri comes in, is this a marketing move for them to get Pogba back? Because I don't know if he necessarily fits what Maurizio Sarri wants to do. But, I mean, anything's possible. But Real Madrid has the far more attractive package, in my opinion, to make that move work. I just think you have Gareth Bale, who is a known quantity in the Premier League. You have James Rodriguez, who I don't care what anybody says. The guys, they're not renewing his contract at Bayern Munich. He doesn't have a home at Real Madrid. He's surplus goods. So you have to move him where there's the most value. And that's the move that's probably going to work. So,
we have another one that I was going to start this with, but the Suarez thing popped up. Gustavo has a question for you, Nick.
Okay.
How about the rumors that are out there in Argentina in Boca Juniors land about Daniele De Rossi going to Boca?
Yeah, there's I've seen talk of him going to Argentina. I think that move, from what I've watched of Superliga, he could, at this stage of his career, if he wanted to come in and play on the back line, he could do it. I don't think he could come in as a defensive midfielder necessarily and keep pace in Argentina. I just don't think that is necessarily the case for him. If he's willing to change positions, much like Bastian Schweinsteiger did for the Chicago Fire, then I think it could happen. Yeah, and then there's obviously more years for him left to play. His wife has ties to America. I still believe that he will end up either in New York with NYCFC, or he'll end up in Los Angeles or something like that. But I'm definitely leaning more toward NYCFC.
Miami?
He could go to Miami.
He's been linked there. But
he's one of those players that if he comes into your team, it's an automatic upgrade. He's a guy that just has that. He's a dyed-in-the-wool leader. He's somebody who can come in and galvanize your locker room and immediately. He's somebody, if you are Inter Miami and you need that presence to come in and say, hey, look, hold our locker room together. This is going to be an interesting year. We're going to have a lot of different personalities. We need a captain. De Rossi would be that guy. I think he could do well at Boca, to answer Gustavo's question, but he would have to change positions to make that work. I think he could come in MLS and be a defensive midfielder maybe for another year and probably make that work. But he needs to be a captain. If you're an MLS team and you bring that guy in, he needs to be your captain immediately.
Yeah, and that'd be a good – I mean, if you're going to go with other big splashes in Miami, that would be a good person to bring a group together. It definitely would fit there. Not a transfer rumor, but I want to get your take, Nick, on the article over at Yahoo Sports today from Leander Charlekins about Frank de Boer and the the part about Inter specifically, I'm just going to read this part for you, and this is Frank talking. Frank said, at Inter, we spent so much time dealing with politics with agents. That took up 50% of my time when it should have been 10%. An agent told me, if I'd known you weren't going to start my player, I would never have hired you as manager. That's how much influence he had on who was in charge. An agent told him that.
Yep. I have my feelings on who I think that agent is. I think it's my guess would be it's Mino Raiola, who if there's a big name that comes out of Italy, big names in England, I mean, all over the world, the guy's globally known. And he has enough pull to tell team presidents, if you don't put this guy in charge, I'm pulling all of my players from your squad. I will not allow any of my players to transfer to your team. There are teams in Italy that will not do business with Mino Raiola because he has that kind of pull. So if in reading that article, as soon as I read that's the first name that flashed across my mind. And it really does go to show how Serie A on the back end, it's an absolute madhouse because you have team presidents who they're playing with monopoly money, especially the bigger fish. They don't have a true model of fiscal sustainability, so they have to put up this front that they're flush with cash and they can, they're this huge brand. And we saw this with the rise and fall of AC Milan. And when Frank was there at Inter, it was the same thing. You had Moratti, who was pouring cash into that team. Financial fair play was kicking in. They were going through manager after manager after manager. And the agents had a metric ton of pull because they could say, look, if I don't let my players come here, it's up. There's no man behind the curtain. You're fully exposed that you can't pull the big players anymore. So the agents have a ton of pull, and Mino Raiola more than most. I mean, he's. I'm trying to think of who's the major baseball agent. Who's Scott Boras? I mean, he's like Scott Boras on drugs. Is essentially Mino Raiola on steroids. That's who he is.
Jimmy Sexton.
Yeah, Jimmy Sexton on steroids is who Mino Raiola is. I mean, he has that kind of pull. And guys, when did this article drop there, Jason?
That was this afternoon.
This afternoon. Interesting. If only a team of enterprising gentlemen got together and said virtually the same thing months ago in a talk radio style format, wouldn't that be something? Talking about the issues at Inter and Crystal and how that all shook out there. That'd be crazy. We could go back in time in a DeLorean and somehow pull that audio that those individuals may have created. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
On more than once a week basis.
Yeah. Just throwing that out there. I don't know, but the people don't realize how bad off Inter was during that time. I mean, it really was, and it's a nightmare for managers. It's a situation where either you love the pressure cooker of Serie A or you absolutely hate it and cannot wait to get out. If you're a manager in Serie A, they don't care who your girlfriend is. They don't care if your wife knows who your girlfriend is. They don't care if you're parading around town with said girlfriend or, you're doing whatever. Your personal life, they don't care. It means nothing.
Unless it's in a Cardi. Because, Wanda puts that out for everyone to see via socials. The players are a little different than the managers in that aspect for the way that the tabloids treat them. But as a manager, you are subjected to running the club. Very rarely did you have a situation where the manager did not come in and have to deal with the stuff that Frank's talking about. Agents, why is my player not getting enough playing time? Why is this happening? And you'll have a tactical discussion with an agent, like a 4-hour tactical discussion with an agent. Like no other league does this. Am I convinced this happens in? If it does, please educate me. But in Serie A, this is a thing. And then you have to go and face the media.
There's elements of it. There's elements. Guardiola talked about, not to that degree, but when he left Barcelona and went to Bayern, he was so happy that he didn't have to be the public face of the team and basically be like the communications and PR department. He could just manage, and people did their jobs around him. So it happens in some other places. I think it's the more dysfunctional the club, the more it happens. And just a quick refresher on Inter before we move on to some other rumors. So DeBoer took over from Roberto Mancini in like August of 16.
Yep.
Late in going into the season. DeBoer leaves after a couple months, and it was 4 managers since that. And what did Inter do after the season? They've changed their manager again.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about. With it was an absolute trash heap because Serie A was just now starting to have to deal with the looming financial fair play, and they're like, well, what do you mean? From a player standpoint, the players had a tremendous amount of power. What do you mean I don't have that power anymore? What do you mean you're shipping out this guy or that guy? This new system, I'm not doing any of that. And so Frank was caught in no man's land. And he should not have taken the job to begin with. I must stress that.
That's
His mistake was he should have never stepped foot in Italy unless it was a job where you were allowed that kind of time. Like if he went to like a Sampdoria, if he went to, and Frank may have thought that was beneath him. And I don't know what's in the man's head. But when you take a premier job like that and that the rats are jumping from the ship, you should have ran. And I think that in the article, he talks about how he didn't take the Anderlecht job for the same reason. And so obviously the man has learned from the mistakes on that. So it's a good article. We clown about it, but this is stuff we've been talking about for months. I feel like, it's good for them. Good for them. But sticking with Inter, Conte's officially on the job. They had the nice avant-garde video that they released on social media.
The Fellini film.
Yeah, the Fellini film of Conte arriving. And he has to undo everything he did at Juventus because he was the architect who built that squad back into a winner. So now he's trying to do the same thing with Inter squad that is now free of financial fair play troubles. They just got Diego Godin. He's coming in from Atletico. The Marzio's reporting that Edin Dzeko will be joining Inter from Roma, and they still have fees and everything to work out. And they're going after Nicolo Barella from Cagliari allegedly for 50 million. So Inter is rebuilding quickly. Milan, good luck. I'll ride that good ship till it sinks, but it's not going to be pretty. But yeah, so there's other rumors that Atalanta's Duvan, that's Felipe's guy right there, has an agreement in principle to join Napoli. This one, I know it's DiMarzio, but I have a hard time believing that Atalanta is they just qualified for Champions League. So I don't know, unless Duvan has requested that he wants out. I'd be shocked if that went through. But this is how you become strong in Serie A. You have to steal from your fellow compatriots. So, guys, have you been hearing anything about the Antoine Griezmann deal to Barcelona?
No, that one's gotten kind of quiet.
Yeah, and if we all go back in time a little bit, remember during the World Cup, Griezmann had his own version of the decision video.
Decision.
Decision.
Il Decision.
On Instagram Live.
That's right. And it was this nice, super glossy, pre-produced deal where he talks about essentially how he's staying at Atletico and, his heart is and blah, 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 blah. Marketing. He has come out since and said, guys, it's time for me to leave Atletico. Well, cart, horse, all that fun stuff. He was supposed to be going to Barcelona. And now the rumors are starting to surface that there's trouble in paradise. Some saying that Messi does not want the move, which I don't know about that one. But he has the power to do it. So, I mean, I just think it would be a very un-Messi move. But and then there's others saying that it's an issue with the release clause. Now, the guy's already burned the Atletico bridge. So let's go into much like on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, let's go to the land of make-believe. Here comes the trolley. Ding, 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 ding. Where does
Ding,
Griezmann
ding.
go? Yes, it ding, ding.
Ding,
Where
ding.
does Griezmann go if Barcelona says, hey, thanks, but no thanks? We thought about it. We don't want you.
Inter
Kick
Miami.
rocks. Yeah?
Yeah.
Inter Miami, since they've replaced PSG and that place now. They'll sign Suarez, they'll sign Griezmann, they'll get De Rossi probably on a TAM deal, and they'll go sign James, and then Inter Miami will just be insane.
Can you imagine if they pulled that off?
They'll have all the DPs.
I mean, it's a designated player. You can spend what you want. They've got one of the richest people in the world in their ownership group, and Son from Japan, who has been very quiet but probably has a giant checkbook ready to open. They have sort of reportedly 9 kits that are ready to go. Like their kits for a decade are ready to go. They're not coming in and going to sit back and be like, oh, hey, we're the new kids. Yeah, can we sit here? No, they're going to flip the table over and like kick everybody's book bags out of the way.
They're going to take your lunch tray and just swipe it off the table.
Yeah, they're going to bring their own food truck in and bust down the wall. Like that's where they're at. It's going to be craziness. It's going to be fun. It's going to be craziness. I mean, outside of something absolutely insane like that, I mean, who could spend the money that it's going to take to get Griezmann? I mean, it's probably PSG.
It's PSG. It's PSG. The people with the money capable of doing it would be PSG, Real Madrid, and Man City.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
it.
Chelsea's blocked. Yeah. They can't spend. Manchester United is in a weird position. We don't know if they are going to be spending. Juve doesn't have the cash to do it. Milan is in the process of being led to the gallows at the moment.
Manchester United would be the wild card because it seems like just with all of the conversation out there, I mean, and it's all rumor at this point, but they got to do something big, it feels like, and they're probably going to have to overspend somewhere. That could be a player that they could overspend on, and they do still have a cachet. You know, I mean, it is still Manchester United. It's still a big...
Yeah, but Louis Van Gaal said that Ed Woodward doesn't know a thing about football.
This isn't anything about knowing about football. This is cutting a check.
And guys, keep in mind, if you are trying to keep Pogba, right, because there's been rumors that they've offered him captaincy and whatnot. If you're trying to keep Pogba, one way to do it would be to bring in your fellow World Cup winner and Antoine Griezmann. Just throwing that out there. Relationships mean something in business, and relationships mean something in soccer. And business and soccer, when it combines, if you have nothing else other than a pen and a checkbook, and you can dangle that relationship, just like Neymar has been trying to do in getting Coutinho to PSG. This could be another situation like that. So it's something that bears watching.
Okay, we got more rumors on the MLS front, and we have a little bit more detail on Luis Suarez.
Okay.
The reporter on Catalonia Radio put a very heavy emphasis. And this is all according to MLS_Buzz, by the way. Great site for sharing other things out there, and I think that's the key when you look at MLS Buzz compared to some of the other rumor and MLS transfer type of things. I think Buzz does a pretty good job of linking to where information's coming from and blasts it out with a megaphone. So the reporter on Catalonia Radio put a heavy emphasis on the fact that the salary being offered by Miami is, quote, very interesting. Reportedly, and I don't know if this is completely true, this is Buzz saying that after taxes, Suarez brings in $12 million per year right now.
Mm-hmm.
The highest salary in MLS is what, 7 million?
I believe that's the ballpark.
I mean, if you're going to pay Suarez double that, yeah, you could pull that off. That's not ludicrous, and he's 33 in January. It's not crazy.
It's not.
I can talk myself into it.
Yeah, Giovinco's total compensation in 2018 was 7.1. Michael Bradley at 6.5.
Yeah, with Giovinco out, it's under 7 for the number.
So 6.5 would be Bradley.
Guys,
well, we don't know Zlatan's new salary, and there's been some other changes potentially. So, but somewhere in that ballpark. Go ahead.
And keep in mind, guys, what's the state income tax in Florida?
Zero.
Zero.
And last time I checked, taxes in Spain are not exactly an easy thing to deal with.
That's right. The tax man cometh.
The tax man's evil in Spain, so Luis
keeps
Suarez
coming.
might be very happy to have some empanadas on the beach. All right, so here's another one, and this goes back to our friends in Argentina, Boca Juniors. The saga of Cristian Pavón. Cristian Pavón was in the Argentine squad for the 2018 World Cup. Did play. Just mega emerging star at that point. He's 23 years old right now. He turns 24 in January. Mega star coming off of the World Cup. I mean, you were seeing reportedly like Arsenal interested, and you're talking offers in the 40 and 50 million pounds, and Boca said, nope, we're not going to do it yet. We're going to hold on. They put a crazy release clause on him, $50 million after the World Cup. Never happened. And he hasn't lived up to it. He hasn't been bad by any stretch, but he hasn't lived up to a $50 million release clause. That number's come down to over $20 million. Now it sounds like they're willing to settle for around $14 million for 80% of his rights, so they would retain 20% on a future sale. There's a club in Los Angeles that has Boca Juniors' former manager, Guillermo Barros Escaloto, who
I've heard of him.
Reportedly is interested. This is from Claudio C. Viejo on Argentine radio, that you've got Boca management right now going to Europe, and it sounds like basically they are taking the car out and they're finding out if anybody wants to buy it. And if nobody wants to buy it in Europe, then they'll talk to the Galaxy. The club that I have seen interested in Europe from reports over the last week to 10 days is Watford.
Huh.
Who would you pick? LA Galaxy?
I'm going to LA.
LAG.
I'm going to LA.
Again, it's funny to have these conversations because I feel like, yeah. Would you go enter Miami or would you go to PSG right now? Would you go to Watford or would you go to the LA Galaxy? It's not cut and dried anymore.
Look, I may get an autographed picture of Elton John by going to play at Watford, but that's not the same as being able to cruise down Rodeo Drive on an off day.
And build your brand in America?
That's right.
But and this is again MLS Buzz with a great tweet about this one as it started to break. The absolute tears that will be shed by 45 million Argentines who constantly on MLS when MLS signs Pity Martinez, Ezequiel Barco, and Cristian Pavón. Oh, the salt and the shade that will be thrown on all of it. Let's continue talking about Boca for a second.
Okay.
So Boca lost in the Copa Superliga final. And that was likely Pavón's final match for Boca. They lost to Tigre.
Yeah, buddy.
Tigre was narrowly relegated from the top flight in Argentina. And it gets complicated because Argentina does the over 3 years total
aggregate
for relegation, the aggregate relegation. I believe it's the promedios is what it's called. So Tigre was awful. But there were other teams that were off over the 3 years. They went into this year, and they had to be really, really good to stay up. And they were really close. They were actually good enough to qualify for a Copa Sudamericana spot, the equivalent of the Europa League. Well, they weren't good enough to stay up. When they got relegated, they lost the Copa Sudamericana spot. Well, then the Copa Superliga comes along. And if you win the Copa Superliga, you get to go to the Copa Libertadores, which would be like Fulham had a chance to go to the Europa League, but then they won some magical tournament and they get to go into the Champions League instead. That's what Tigre did. So they will be in the Copa Libertadores next year, and they will be in the second division in Argentina.
That's amazing. God bless Argentina.
Yes.
It's just always fun. It's always fun.
And where can you watch it?
Fanatis.
I hope they have the second division. I need to watch Tigre. I mean, if you're Tigre now, okay, you should dominate in the second division. First off, because you were a top like 8-9 team in the first division last year, so you should dominate in the second division and just focus on Copa Libertadores. Like basically, you've become a barnstorming team. Everything's all about the Libertadores games.
Now, and Gustavo, if you need to jump in, go for it. How does that work? Is it if you win essentially Argentine Serie B? Are you back up the next year? Based on the 3-year rule?
Oh, that's a good one. It's not the promotion's not based off the 3-year rule, but actually right now there's conversations about changing the way they do promotion relegation because look, it's crazy. Just accept that it's crazy and know that it's crazy. And what we're saying is we're trying to make sense of it, but it's really hard because it's crazy. This is a competition that when River Plate was relegated, they said, "Oh man, we can't have this happen. Let's have 30 teams in the top flight and do all these crazy different formats." And then they said, "Well, wait, this doesn't work for what we're doing either. So let's get back down to 20." But now they're like at 26. I think, and they're like, wait a minute, maybe we shouldn't go back down. Like the next season is going to take place from, I believe, late July until December. That's going to be the season. No, that's the season. It's going to be over like 6 months, 5 months. Then the second half of the air quotes season is going to be the next Copa Superliga. All the while, the Copa Argentina is still going on right now.
That's amazing.
Which was the 2018-2019 Copa Argentina, but now it's just become the 2019 Copa Argentina, and it's spanning essentially 2 seasons of league play. So it would be like if awesome. the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup went from July or August of this year, and the final was next May. So you're over like 2 league seasons because welcome to Argentina, we're nuts, and that's the way it goes. Like so, Tigre could be in the 4th division by the time the Copa Argentina finishes up, or they could be winning the Copa Libertadores at the same time.
Yes.
Who knows?
I feel like this is that scene with Vicini in The Princess Bride, where he's going into the poison, like a clever man. Which clearly changed the cups. But now I know that you're a clever man and you would know that. So then clearly you'd poison the cup in front of me. Like I feel like we just went through that whole scenario right there. If you don't know what The Princess Bride is, you must go and watch this immediately. Yes. Stop what you're doing. Stop the show and just
or King Arthur trying to kill off the Black Knight.
Yes.
In Holy Grail.
So okay, here's the other thing about this. And this is the great thing. Okay, so promotion now in Argentina, I think, has gone to the straight point total. So they've gotten away from the 3 years thing. Okay, so that's the change that they're making. And this is from our buddy Soccer Metrics. Howard chimes in. So Tigre, remember, they would have been in the Sudamericana. Okay, they didn't get to go to the Sudamericana. So they go into this Copa Superliga made-up thing, and they win it. They get to go to the Libertadores. Start in the group stage. They don't have to go through the qualifying rounds. They go straight into the group stage. And CONMEBOL is paying $1 million per group stage match. Tigre just got paid, y'all.
It's amazing.
Dollar bill.
They were that whole thing about like, yes, you might poison this cup or whatever. And they chose the right freaking cup because they won the Copa Superliga.
He chose wisely.
$1 million per group stage match.
Amazing. See,
now here's the other thing. You wonder why MLS wants to be in the Copa Libertadores? I'm just saying.
Money.
$1 million per group stage match.
I need Defensa. I need my boys from Defensa to step up and start getting that Copa Libertadores money. Get that Libertadores money going and stock my team. Gustavo has chimed back in and says, what Frank de Boer is saying about Inter is a true normal practice in Italy, Spain, and Argentine soccer. So
Argentina, I'm definitely not surprised.
Yeah, agents pay media to talk about their players and make lobby. That's not illegal, but the problem is that some front office members are agents' partners.
Yes. In Argentina, you add the Barra Bravas, who are sometimes partners with the owners of the teams and sometimes can act as the henchmen for the owners when the players aren't doing what they would like or the manager's not doing what they like, and they can start to threaten you and break into your training camp. And I believe Ariel Holan was threatened at Independiente at one point, and just all kinds of craziness. Argentina gets above and beyond with it. But, yeah, I mean, agents, owners, managers, fan groups, all sometimes intermingled.
Isn't it a beautiful thing? Soccer is just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Match fixing. You guys ready for a little match fixing?
Never heard of it.
Why
Never.
not? We're talking.
Never
about
happens.
Craziness.
There we go. All right, 7 players from Real Valladolid. If you remember Real Valladolid, they're the ones who had the turf that was ripping up, like in large, like 4-yard
yeah, that
chunks.
was not good.
Yeah. Well, 7 of their players were busted for match fixing versus Valencia. Valencia qualified for the Champions League, and Valladolid was safe from relegation. But Football España has the details on that. Not looking good for the guys from Real Valladolid. They have the text, they have the receipts, they have everything. So stop coming at Serie A just by saying that there's match fixing because, pot, kettle, cast iron,
shake,
pan, all that. Yeah, it's all good. There you go. So, gentlemen, I don't know about you guys, but I have got to go get the Duchess dinner going. What in the world is going on with you guys now that we are getting into the break?
So break.
Newcastle's hoping that they don't have to deal with another fake shake.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. There's no telling with all of that. No break going on for us. Normal show all week and throughout because we're crazy. Tomorrow evening, and we'll have a start time for you sometime tomorrow, Women's World Cup preview edition. It'll be live in the evening, getting you set for the kickoff of the tournament on Friday. The U.S. starts their run in the tournament on Tuesday. So we'll get into the U.S. chances, other teams to watch, some potential underdogs, players to watch, storylines, etc. That'll be tomorrow evening. It's a busy time. I mean, right now with Copa America starting up next week, with Gold Cup starting
Wednesday.
up late next week, all kinds of things. Open Cup 4th round on Tuesday. I'll be heading over to Charleston on Tuesday for that. I'm trying to avoid the sand gnats as best as I can.
Yes,
impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible. I know. I mean, I'm going to try, but it's just I've resigned myself to being eaten alive by sand gnats.
So, in other words, you guys are not. Nothing slows down.
No.
And then Friday the Twos play against Red Bulls 2, which is a really, really good match. Highly recommended if you are hanging around town on a Friday and you're like, I'd like to go see some soccer. Come up to Fifth Third Bank Stadium in Kennesaw and see
Action
Atlanta
at
United
the Fraction
2 and Red Bulls 2. No, I'm not saying
Action
that.
at
that's ridiculous.
the Fraction. I love it, John.
I'm not saying it. I'll go ATM, but I'm not saying it. It's just ridiculous.
I'm just saying, I like it, John. I'm a big fan of it.
Soccer in the streets on Wednesday night, too.
There's that, too. I knew there was something else I was trying to remember. Fundraiser again for the ATL Champions League, which we'll be at as well this weekend. Details forthcoming on that. But Wednesday night over at Eventide Brewery in Grant Park, we'll be doing a live show. You can listen if you can't join us from 7 to 9, raffling off all kinds of cool stuff for that. And again, it's a fundraiser for Metro Atlanta programs for soccer in the streets. So everything is fair game on Wednesday night. Atlanta United, crazy Argentina rumors, crazy league structures. Maybe we'll know where Luis Suarez is going to go by then. Maybe we'll come up with 10 more ridiculous players for Inter Miami to sign. Who knows? It's all possible.
All right, there we go. So you know how to find us now. You know where we will be all throughout the week. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the show. We will have more transfer rumors as they come along, no matter how crazy it gets. Remember, that is this show. This show, we embrace the crazy.
All
right?
about the
We
crazy.
embrace all about the crazy. So, yes. Thank you again, John Nelson, Jason Longshore, Garlic Red World.
All the lira, y'all.
Guys, it's mucha euro, y'all.
All the lira.
Lots of pesos.